Hello and welcome to your cuneiform notes. So the slide here says Cornell notes, but we're doing them as fill in the blank because of e-learning, making it a little bit easier for you all. So I'm going to walk you through this really cool form of writing that we touched on a little bit. It originated in Mesopotamia. We talked about it being in the city of Sumer, which was in Mesopotamia, that southern part by the water. And if you were lucky enough to go to scribe school, this is what you would be learning at scribe school, is this cuneiform, which were letters made of wedges and lines pressed into clay. So we're going to go through and you will be writing these down on your fill in the blank notes, or hopefully you've copied, if you didn't print it, then you've copied it down but left room for the answers. So cuneiform is a system of writing. So there's your first underlined word. Remember that the underlined word that you're seeing on the screen goes in the spot that is underlined blank on your notes. So a system of writing developed by the Sumerians that used wedge-shaped marks made in soft clay. Cuneiform is Latin for wedge. So you can see some examples over here where there's the order that you put them means something, the direction that they're facing means something. So that's what it looked like. First written language. Cuneiform was the first written language that we know of, and we only know this, and this is only our, you know, our hypothesis is that this is the first because we found evidence of it, right? So you can't state something as fact if you don't have evidence. So this, we actually have evidence. Finding these clay tablets is something that historians and archaeologists have done, and there's actual proof that this existed, so it gets credited as being the first. It was invented in Sumer. Remember that word is not summer, but Sumer by the Sumerians around 3500 to 3000 BC. And again, those dates go backwards because they're BC dates. Life after the invention of writing. So before cuneiform was invented, Sumerians told stories orally, which is what we do as well. When you're young and you're learning how to speak and you're a baby, people talk to you and you talk back. You can talk before you can write. After writing was invented, they were able to record these stories. Most stories consisted of tales praising their gods and warriors for doing great deeds. The world's oldest known stories come from Sumer. One Sumerian story that is still studied is the Epic of Gilgamesh. So epic meaning long poem about a hero. People liked entertainment, of course, just like we do, and without any electronics or movies or anything like that, they would tell stories and then eventually write them down and be able to read stories. Characters. So characters in this case is going to mean the equivalent of letters, or sometimes a character could be even an entire word. So Sumerians used about 1,200 different characters in their written language. The characters represented names, physical objects, and numbers. So what you're seeing here might be across that top part, that might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, could be 6 or 7 words. Some of them might be someone's name or number. So it just, it's a little different than our alphabet, which is phonetic. They didn't write like that. They wrote with with symbols that represented names or numbers or objects. The way of writing. Sumerians used a sharp reed, which would come from the stalk of a plant, and you can see the demonstration over here, in order to create wedge shapes into damp clay. They did not have paper, and this is important because when paper does get invented, you're going to see the availability of reading materials grow, right? The more that people can have it in their hands and actually read it, the more people that are going to be able to read. So not yet. Sumerians and cuneiform is just in clay, but you can see how they would make the sort of the pencil, what we're calling a reed, because it has no lead. Who knew how to read and write cuneiform? So mostly boys. All the records that we have indicate that male children were the ones sent to scribe school, and this just continues with the idea that girls are kept at home to help care for children and food preparation and clothes and laundry and all that kind of stuff. And boys are given opportunities outside of the home, which is not fair, but it does explain sort of the inequality and where that stems from with gender inequality. Um, Wealthy families knew how to read and write cuneiform. After years of training, some became scribes. So even if you went as a young boy just to learn how to read and write, you may not go on to actual scribe school, but you would leave there knowing how to read and write. A scribe is a person who copies or writes out documents. Oftentimes, they are a record keeper. Scribes recorded the everyday life in Mesopotamia, including court records, marriage contracts, business dealings, important events. Some scribes even became judges and government officials. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation. If you need to go back and watch any of it again, go ahead. If not, then you're all set. Make sure this goes in your notebook and have a great day.